Hey everybody, it's Sean and Ian here from Custom Audio Video, and we're doing things a little bit different this month because I think things are different for a lot of us. But we're going to talk about something that's very important, especially right now. Ian, what are we going to talk about today?
Home networks, really. I guess we have to really try and explain what that is. A network, as far as we're concerned, technically could be different kinds of equipment, but network specifically we want to talk about today is connection to the internet, either be hardwired or Wi-Fi in your house, and how important that is right now.
Yeah, so if I've just got, say, like the Hargrey router,
Yeah.
is that all I need? Is that going to be sufficient?
It depends on the size of your house. Typically, my house, for instance, I have the Hargrey router and it covers the majority of my house, not all of it though. There's some areas where Wi-Fi is not strong enough and connection's slow or no connection, so it gets a bit difficult in situations like that.
Yeah, and now at your house, how many devices do you think you probably have going at once?
So as far as audio video is concerned, you know, we try and connect televisions and Blu-ray players and various other AV PCs to the internet hardwired. They count as devices, of course, but typically the mobile devices, phones, iPads, laptops, also add to the whole device list. Let's say there's 10 or 20 max in my house.
Okay. And then, so if all of a sudden you've got a family of 4 or 5, and some people are doing video conferencing, some people are doing school online, somebody's streaming a video, what does that do to a network?
Yeah, so every time there's a connection from a device to the network, it takes up some of the we'll call it data that's available there. And there's only so much that's fed from the service provider, from Hargrey or Spectrum or whoever you have. So it's really important to have as robust a device equipment-wise for the network as you can. The router, any of the switches that are involved, and the wireless access PCs themselves.
Yeah, so it sounds like in today's world, we're getting more and more, we talked about it a little bit last month as well, streaming TVs.
Yeah.
It's almost like everything coming to our house almost is coming over the internet, and then the network's probably the most important part of that. Yeah,
that is a pretty important part. You know, we did talk about streaming last month, and that's audio and video. Things like Pandora, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, etc., etc. All of these things, once you start to use them on multiple devices, start to drag down your network potentially. So you really want to make sure that first of all, the service you get from the service provider is the best that you can get. And then secondly, the equipment that's installed is robust, efficient, and as far as Wi-Fi is concerned, covers a large area. That's not always the case. So it's quite often we find we go into clients' homes and there, as you mentioned a few minutes ago, there's the Hargrey router. There might be an additional wireless access point. So what we do, we'll look and try and assess what coverage is needed in the house and where each of these wireless access points needs to be. You know, it's pretty important now that we have all of these streaming services, and now lots of people are working from home. We've had home offices for years. Typically, a PC would be hardwired to the network, but most people want to do Wi-Fi these days with a laptop, etc.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask that. I mean, we hear left and right, wireless, 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 wireless. Is wireless all it's propped up to be, or is a better solution?
Yeah. I mean, wireless can be really good. Again, it depends. There's a couple of different formats. I'll call it a couple of different speeds as well. And that's device dependent. So your iPhone or iPad might work on 2.4, whereas or 5, whereas maybe older ones might just work on 2.4, which is a slower Wi-Fi connection. So there's a few things to consider. The 5G is faster, but the distance that it covers is not so far. And the 2.4 is slower than that, but covers a wider area.
Okay. But then you mentioned earlier that there's a lot of devices that we want to hardwire as much as we can. And a lot of the times, I guess that can even mean the access points through the house. Not necessarily wireless talking to each other, but the more that we can get wired, the better, the stronger the network.
Sure. Lots of people say to me, wireless access point, do you mean booster? Well, it's kind of similar, but boosters typically would be something that are available across the shelf in big box stores. They plug into power, they receive a Wi-Fi signal, and then they retransmit. What we do is actually run hardwire. We run Cat6 wire from wireless access points that typically we would place on the ceiling. They kind of look like smoke detectors, slightly larger than smoke detectors. So we would hardwire these back to the hub so that that's a solid connection. It doesn't rely on receiving Wi-Fi and then retransmit. So it's more robust than the boosters.
Yeah, so I mean, it seems like networks have come a long ways in terms of their importance. And we're seeing that even more and more as every day goes by, that the more we're doing at home, the more that's moving to the internet, the stronger network we need. I hope that helps folks at home, that in this time, strong networks are very important. If you need any help, we're always here to help. Have a great week.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.